morning and welcome to the Hydrogen Insights by TÜV SÜD at World Hydrogen Week. Today with us we have Dr. Kathrin Ebner, responsible for risk assessment in hydrogen at Munich Re. Welcome, Kathrin.
Thank you so much for having me, Lynn.
It's our pleasure. So, Kathrin, can you tell us a little bit about your background, your personal background, and your journey in hydrogen so far?
Of course, I'd be happy to. So basically, I'm an electrochemist by training, focusing on the hydrogen topic, let's say, already quite a bit during my PhD. And then also later on, during my journey from only doing fuel cells and getting broader and broader, so to say, focusing not only on fuel cells, but also electrolyzers and battery-based energy storage and propulsion systems. So yeah, at the moment I'm working at Munich Re, where I'm responsible for technical due diligence. And what that basically means is I really dive into the technical risks that could be associated with hydrogen technologies and really thoroughly try to understand the technology and any risk aspect related around it.
Let's focus now on the green hydrogen. Mm-hmm. So green hydrogen right now is being considered a patent remedy for decarbonization and energy transition. Do you think this expectation has been fulfilled so far?
Green hydrogen really does hold a huge decarbonization potential, and especially also for emission-heavy industries, and we can even store it over a longer period of time, use it for energy storage. But what we see, on the one hand, we have, by the end of last year, over 30 countries issuing hydrogen strategies and really trying to leverage the decarbonization potential. But at the same time, we see quite a bit of hesitation when it comes to actual project realization. So just to put that in numbers maybe, just recently actually the International Energy Agency updated their numbers and it showed that only 4% of the projects that are supposed to be producing hydrogen in 2030 or have announced to be producing hydrogen in 2030 have reached a final investment decision. And of course, when we compare this number then to the even much larger number of hydrogen production capacity we would need in 2050 to reach decarbonization targets or net zero emission targets, it's of course a vast difference and a much larger and faster upscaling would need to be done.
These are very striking numbers and facts. So what do you think are the reasons for this hesitation of capital?
Well, I think there are multiple, and I'll try to give a short overview. I think on the one hand, really hesitation about the technology is a core reason. So there is just a lack of long-term experience with those technologies, especially at scale. But also other issues like supply chain aspects, then offtake agreements, for example, a lack of standardization in the field, and also just the simple availability of renewable electricity that can be very limiting there. So yeah, maybe if it's okay, I want to give a bit of a deep dive also in more the technical aspects here, because you really have to imagine in an electrolyzer, you're starting with your core component, the cell, which actually also consists out of several components, each associated with a unique degradation behavior, unique failure modes, etc. And then in your electrolyzer, you don't just have one cell, but many, often hundreds in one stack, and several stacks, and often many stacks in one electrolyzer system. So you can imagine that overall, the degradation behavior there is a non-linear one, and it's not so easy to forecast. So that, of course, also contributes to the hesitation there. And when we think even a bit further, now we were talking about the stacks themselves, but those stacks like to be operated at a certain operating window. So then we also need our balance of plant components that actually, for example, provide the right temperature, the right water quality, etc. Again, associated with degradation and failure mechanisms. So overall, you have very diverse risks there already in the technical sphere, so to say. And when we are now shifting our perspective a bit to the more financial aspects, we already mentioned in the beginning that to really leverage a green hydrogen's decarbonization potential, we need to scale it. And that means also scaling individual units and scaling project sizes. And these scales are simply unprecedented, and one can also imagine that they would need or do need significant investments there. So when thinking about that, It's of course on the one hand tricky for the manufacturers themselves because they want to provide, or would be helpful to provide for the investors some sense of security in the technology, maybe by providing warranties, but at the same time it puts a strain on the balance sheet. On the other hand, we have investors, of course, and lenders who are looking at the business case, and it's very hard to make proper business case, proper cost predictions without a reliable long-term operation of the plant. And when I'm talking about operation, one more thing comes to mind, because also we know that there are various different electrolyzer technologies actually, and depending on where they are applied, what the exact operation scenario is, the, let's say, ideal point or ideal solution, both when it comes to CapEx, but also when it comes to operation and maintenance cost, could be a different one. And so specifically also when it comes to this operation and maintenance aspect, I think also there the topic of performance and durability of the electrolyzer plays a key role for forecasting that. I think I already mentioned now that it's really quite a complex topic, and for resolving this complex issue and for getting a better grab on it, we need to work with strong partners. And we are really trying to do that as Munich Re, both with academic partners, but also industrial partners. And for example, I think our collaboration also with TÜV SÜD on newer technologies, less established technologies is a good example here.
Yeah, indeed. Fully agree with you, Kathrin. And indeed, in TÜV SÜD, we have a long-standing history of collaboration with Munich Re, and also long-standing history in hydrogen. And what we do, and we feel it is needed to be done currently, is to approach, to support companies and then approach the problems with, let's say, a holistic view along the whole value chain, because hydrogen is not a product, it's an entire value chain. It includes many technical challenges, but also strategic challenges. And then, especially for PTX projects and hydrogen generation projects, an approach which sees support along the whole project life cycle. And this is to remove those uncertainties, I would say, before the FID, and to ensure safety, transparency, and also help market access for hydrogen technology and green hydrogen in general. So when we talk about green hydrogen, we need to talk about the scale. And one of the challenges for scaling is, of course, the electrolyzers. No? So what does Munich Re, how is Munich Re working to tackle these challenges?
Mm-hmm. So maybe very generally, our green tech solutions team at Munich Re is really focusing on technologies that are not perfectly established, not so well established yet, and that's why they bring uncertainty again when it comes to long-term performance. But we are perfectly ready to also provide risk transfer solutions in that space. And supporting green hydrogen is really also within the mission of Munich Re. So maybe a bit more detail, because you asked about the electrolyzers, a bit more detail on our HiSure product. So HiSure is offering product and performance warranty backstops for electrolyzers and also other hydrogen technologies. And I think with that, we really can provide a lever, as mentioned, in relieving, the balance sheet of, for example, a manufacturer issuing a warranty to a customer.
So, Kathrin, talking about the scale-up of green hydrogen production, one of the challenges is, of course, the scale of electrolyzers. What is Munich Re doing in this field to tackle these challenges?
So Munich Re's green tech solution team is actually providing risk transfer solution for technologies that are not, where long-term experience is not yet fully available. And with that, we of course aim to also support those technologies, and it is within the mission to also support green hydrogen here. So for electrolyzers specifically, since you mentioned them, we offer our HiSure product, which actually is a backstop of warranties, namely product and performance warranties for those electrolyzers. So with that, we hope to provide also a lever, for example, for manufacturers issuing those warranties and relieving their balance sheet.
And are you also looking at downstream applications, for example, for fuel cells?
Most definitely, yes. So also fuel cells and basically using green hydrogen as a green energy carrier is really within our interest. And so we look at different kinds of fuel cells, all both in stationary and also in mobile application. And also there we employ quite a technical underwriting approach similar to the electrolyzer one.
Oh, okay, that's very interesting. So then can you tell me a little bit more in detail how the HYSURE product works and what are the benefits of this product?
So the manufacturers, the OEMs, for them, of course, it presents basically help in the market to also, or advantage in the market to also provide warranties, especially when it comes to the durability and performance to their product. But at the same time, that of course would require or would put some strain on the balance sheet because you require some reserves for that. So there we can help by transferring this risk basically to us and relieving that balance sheet. At the same time, when we take a different perspective now of the project developers, for project developer it's always extremely important to have, let's say, risk on several shoulders within the project and good risk transfer solutions in place so the project can be done successfully and smoothly. And then we have the investors who of course want some security to their investment, and they're a strong company like Munich Re backing up those warranties. Can be very beneficial also to them for a more long-term perspective of the investment.
Well, I see that the risk is involved on many sides, and it stays with it's shared by many stakeholders in this picture. So how do you assess all the risks on every side?
Actually, it's a great question because we have, as mentioned, now a technology that's not yet so well known, especially when it comes to a more longer term picture. So we do a very in-depth technical due diligence to understand whether a customer or a customer's product qualifies for our cover. And I think maybe I will take an example simply as we talked about electrolyzers of a stack manufacturer, just so you can have a picture. So how we would usually start that conversation and assessing these risks is really getting to know the technology very well. So talking about the structure, the specific tech specs, so to say, of cell and stack level, the performance measurements available, durability aspects that are maybe known, that are available, field data that is available, etc. We also talk about quality control, for example, and all of these parameters then feed into an in-house model that we use to assess those risks. And in addition to that, now I talked only about the data part, so to say, of the whole process, but we also go and do a site visit at the production facilities and really look in detail on how the products are produced, how, again, quality management is performed in, let's say, real factory, real production line, and also that feeds into our risk assessment model. And once we can then check all of these boxes off, we can say whether a customer, again, qualifies for the coverage, and that customer may also then find it easier to convince investors of their product.
When we talk about quality, I think standardization is very, very important. How do you think it could impact then this field?
So first of all, I want to say that from my perspective, the role of standardization cannot be overestimated, because especially if you want a fast deployment of a technology, and really electrolysis is not just one technology, but many different ones, you need to agree on some common safety rules, for example, or standardized safety aspects, but also standardized performance testing, standardized durability testing, etc. It aids collaboration. It aids also, trust in the field and basically understanding what products are able to do. And it also aids, of course, being compliant with a regulatory framework. So from that perspective, I think standardization is really crucial. And from a very insurance tech DD perspective, which is the one I usually bring in, I think it's also really important to accelerate this at the moment very extensive and of course very thorough tech DD process, which is also very important to us. But when we have standardized testing procedures and we can have basically testing certificates by TIC partners as a strong foundation already for the TechDD process and can have a bit of an acceleration there as well.
As a closing note, how do you see then the future hydrogen economy and hydrogen industry?
That's a very good question. Let me start by saying or emphasizing again that really hydrogen really holds a huge decarbonization potential, as has been shown in numerous studies. But to leverage it, as mentioned, we need to really have a much wider spread deployment, especially of electrolyzer capacity. And yeah, so while as a technical person, I really truly believe that the technical progress is at the heart of that. Financial feasibility is of key importance for really having a fast upscaling. Yeah, and I really think for that we need strong players in every part of the value chain. We need a new ecosystem, if you want to say so. And for that, I think strong collaborations like we have with many partners and also, of course, with TÜV SÜD that we can rely on and bring in expertise together, or joint expertise, really builds a strong foundation there. And yeah, so generally, I think this collaboration, not just among different fields, but also really globally and interdisciplinarily, is the strongest enabler and absolutely crucial to achieve these goals when it comes to green hydrogen.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and collaboration is essential to tackle bigger challenges together.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much, Kathrin, for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.